Stephanie, and I wanted to go over some of the more intimidating books on my TBR. So in 2018, I made a resolution to stop being afraid of big books. I was glad I made that resolution because 2018 ended up being the year that I tackled two gigantic classics, Gone with the Wind and Middlemarch. So I feel a lot more energized and like I'm ready to take on longer books. So I wanted to talk about the 5 books that are haunting my TBR at the moment with their page count. So right now, the longest book on my TBR is Speaks the Nightbird by Robert McCammon. Robert McCammon is a really big name in the horror community, but this book and this whole series is actually a departure from that. This is actually a historical mystery that takes place during the Revolutionary era in America. And it follows I'm not sure if he's a detective, but I believe he's called Matthew Corbett. And I have this on my Kindle, and it comes in at around 816 pages. So because of that, this is really intimidating. A historical mystery set in a time that I'm not super familiar with, but from an author whose previous work I have loved. So I definitely need to pick this one up sometime. The next one, I will say, the cover is what sold me, and then the description of this dark comedy mystery just really reels me in. And this is Skippy Dies by Paul Murray. And I know this takes place, I want to say, in Ireland and at a boys' boarding school. And the way that the synopsis was written on the back just seemed very tongue-in-cheek. And like I said before, a very dark but comedic tone throughout, which I thought would be fantastic. This comes in at 661 pages. And the next 3 books I have here to hold and just feel their physical weight. But the next one is The Good House by Tananarive. I read her short story collection earlier in 2018 called Ghost Summer Stories and absolutely fell in love with her writing style. So this one I know deals with some heavy topics. I know it's a haunted house story that basically revolves around the tragic death of a child, which as a parent is really hard to read about, but I do love haunted house stories, and I did love Tananarive, and I told myself I wanted to read basically everything she wrote. So the number on Goodreads that I had for this was 597 pages. My personal hardcover edition has 480, which honestly doesn't seem too bad, but it is like a tall and like big book. So I see it. The next book on that list is one I actually have out from the library right now, and I am a few pages into, and that is December Park by Ronald Malfi. And it says, "The Piper has come to take the children away." And this is a kind of horror coming-of-age story about a group of boys facing an evil in their small town. So this book takes place in the 90s in a suburb called Harding Farms, and all of these children have gone missing, but there's never any bodies found until recently. And then when the book starts, they have found the body of a young girl, and she's the first body that they found. Other than that, it's just missing children. I don't know who names it, but the name that they have for the person that's behind all of this is the Piper, because the Pied Piper is calling the children and taking them away. And we have a group of 4 boys who I guess team up and fight against it, or like figure out who it is, or might have some insight into what's behind it. So I'm definitely interested in this. I'm actually, working my way through this one, which says something. But what I like about these stories is we do get coming of age stories, but there is a really big emphasis on friendship and the friendship within the core group of characters that we're following. So I'm really excited to hopefully get into more of that in this. The last book I'm going to talk about, I'm only going to do the 5, is a translated work that is Little Star by John Ajvde Lindqvist. I read and loved Let the Right One In. It is one of my favorite horror books. And this, as you can probably tell by this video, I don't like to know entire synopses before I go in. I kind of just like to know keywords. So I know this is about a family that finds a baby, and they take in that baby, and as that baby grows up, it's very strange and kind of doesn't fit in. But something happens, and the dad and the child enter a singing competition. So I'm thinking that this is one of those stories about a creepy child along the lines of like The Bad Seed and something like that. I don't know like what this child does. Is this child just a psychopath? Does the child have supernatural abilities? What does the singing competition have anything to do with it? So I don't know. I've heard a lot, like some people were disappointed by this book, but I've also had people recommend this to me saying that it's, like right below Let the Right One In for them. So That is Little Star by Jonathan Lindqvist. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. How do you feel about long books on your TBR? And have you read any of the books that I mentioned in this video? So let me know. Talk to me in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!